Bitcoin went up to $29,000 today, very briefly. And in this video, I'm going to explain why that happened and what caused it. And we're going to also go ahead and take a look at our crypto chart TA, as well as some important Bitcoin metrics. So starting with our chart TA for Bitcoin, we come over here and take a look at the chart. I'm going to zoom in here. You're going to see that there's this one extremely strange looking candle, this 1 hour candle here with the massive wick to the upside. We're going to go ahead and we're going to look at the 1 minute, and we're going to see what happened with that candle. So this is the candle I'm talking about. It went all the way up here to about 29,373, and it went all the way back down again. So what happened here was we saw a whale come in here and buy 251 Bitcoin and spiked the price all the way to 29K. Now what's interesting about this is that it pushed through the resistance point that we've talked about before at 29 at about 28,500, but it was sold off incredibly hard, came all the way back down again, and then it actually, this candle here closed at about 28,200. So in the span of about a minute or two, it fluctuated all the way from 28,200 or about 28,000 to 29,300, and then all the way back down again to 28,200. So in the span of a minute, that's pretty wild. But we had a whale come in here, it bought, spiked the price, and that is the reason why we saw Bitcoin go to 29K. So now, does this change anything when it comes to chart TA? I don't think so personally, because this was kind of an outlier event. I'm not going to move the resistance level up to that point. I'm going to keep it where it is right now at about 28,500. That has proven to be very strong resistance for Bitcoin. Now, over the last couple of days, the market's been up and down, and Bitcoin has, for the most part today, been down. And what we're looking at right now is, if we go and we take a look at the daily, what we can see here is that it's kind of moved sideways for the past couple of days. And this is something I said was probably the most likely outcome. Over the last couple of days, we're just going to wind up seeing some sideways action for Bitcoin. It's going to try to consolidate here. Now, we're going to be looking at this support here at 26,700 very closely, because if it can't hold the support level, then it's coming back down again, potentially here to about 25,000, okay, 25,200. That's where it would go if it can't hold the support level. For now, I think the support level holds, but if it doesn't hold, I'm going to make a whole video about that and describe what I'm expecting after that point. Now, another thing to point out is the fact that the RSI on the daily is about 62, which is still really high. So Bitcoin has been kind of, it's been bought, it's been heavily bought, but is not overbought just yet. And when we've seen Bitcoin in this area, in this range before, usually we wind up seeing it come back down again to the lower level. So that is always a possibility. And if this, especially if this support doesn't hold here, I can expect that Bitcoin's probably going to come back down here to 25,200, or even below that to about 24,200. So if Bitcoin does that, it's a healthy pullback. It is not really jeopardizing the uptrend. The uptrend is still intact. Again, if we zoom out and we take a look at the uptrend ever since January, we can see the uptrend is still very much intact. And I would not be concerned in the slightest if it came down here and it found some support and dipped a little bit. I think that'd actually be a very interesting opportunity for me to be a buyer. So if we come here to the funding rate, what we can see here is that we've had both the longs and the shorts vying for dominance. And again, this is for derivatives for Bitcoin perpetual futures. And what you're seeing here is both longs and shorts being alternatively dominant. And then we see this green funding rate here, meaning that the longs are dominant after about this point. That's about 23rd or so of March. And so what we're seeing right now is a building position of longs for Bitcoin in the derivatives market. If we go ahead and take a look at our exchange reserve, we can see here that exchange reserve has been climbing ever since the 12th of March. And so that means that more Bitcoin are flowing into the exchanges. This is kind of an opposite of what we saw back in, I would say, the FTX collapse, where we had a huge amount of outflows from the exchange. Now we're starting to see it come back up again, and it seems like it's pushing a little bit higher. Now, one of the reasons for this, and one of the reasons why that we're seeing more Bitcoins flowing into the exchange, is because when you look at the miners reserve, we can see here that miners reserve has been dwindling. And if we go and take a look at the monthly, we can see here that it's been moving down ever since like 25th of February, and it's kind of stabilized a little bit. But if you kind of overlap these two things together, what you can see here is that you have both miners selling, and then you have the amount of Bitcoin flowing into the exchanges increasing. So I think that miners right now are selling, and they're taking profit at these higher Bitcoin prices. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at our network hash rate for Bitcoin, we can see here is that network hash rate has hit another all-time high all the way up here. Right now, we're at about, let's see if I can get this here. It's about 340 exahashes per second. It's just an amazing amount of this hash rate. And again, as a reminder, hash rate is like the total computational power of the blockchain. And we've seen that this has just been on a massive run. And I think this is very bullish for Bitcoin, because as the hash rate increases, you have a more secured network, because as the hash rate increases, it becomes more difficult for a bad actor to execute what they call a 51% attack, where you have 51% of the hashing power controlled by one entity, and then they could basically control the blockchain. So this right here, it's positive for the security purposes, and it helps secure the blockchain itself. So I think that's actually pretty bullish. But the fact that it keeps going higher and higher and higher, that is definitely pretty amazing. If we go ahead and take a look at addresses with one Bitcoin, we can see here that we have hit almost an all-new high with this as well. And if we zoom in here, we can take a look. We have a little bit of a bubble here, and then that bubble went down. And now we're almost at the top of it, back again here at about 988,000 addresses with at least one Bitcoin. And I think that, again, this is a very positive feature for Bitcoin, because now you have more addresses that have at least one Bitcoin, a more equitable distribution. And then finally, I want to go ahead and take a look at the popularity of Bitcoin, especially with search. So if we go over here to Google Trends and we look at Bitcoin search results, what we can see here is that it's actually been on a bit of an uptrend ever since about the 5th or so of March. We can see here it went from about 22 up to about 38. And now this level we haven't seen previously since November, and this is primarily here during FTX collapse. That also drove a lot of interest towards Bitcoin, in this case, trying to figure out what happened and what's going on. However, if we go ahead and we look back at the last bull market, we can see here that usually these levels are about like 77, 75, or about 100 or so, and they were much higher. But we are starting to see a recovery of interest in Bitcoin over the last month or so, and that's probably likely due to the fact that we've had multiple banks collapse and multiple banks fail. And so people are interested in putting their money into a valuable asset and then self-custodying that asset. So that's the reason why this has gone up. Now I expect that this interest over time is going to be going up as soon as we hit the next bull market, and it's going to be looking an awful lot like what we saw here back in. Let me zoom out here. Back in the last bull market here. So about, if we zoom out 5 years, we can see here it went up to about 92 or so, 86, somewhere in that range. And I expect it's probably going to climb back in there as more people become interested in Bitcoin as the price increases. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at Ethereum as well. So Ethereum also kind of had a little bit of a bad day today. It was down about 3.73% in the day. Again, just like Bitcoin, stuck in this range right now. We're looking at is that support level at 1723 and the resistance level here at 1850. So for now, with Ethereum is going to follow Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin decides to go up, Ethereum's also going to go up. If Bitcoin goes down, then Ethereum's going to go down. But for now, we'll see if this support level holds. It should hold from what I'm seeing. But if it doesn't hold, then again, I'll make a video about it. We'll talk about where exactly I expect next support levels to be and what I expect for the price action. But for now, it looks like Bitcoin and Ethereum want to wind up going sideways. I also want to go ahead and talk about the Binance coin as well. So Binance coin, sideways like the last two. However, this one has actually come down quite a bit from the resistance point at 343. Now it has support here at 317, and it's come down here. It's wicked to that level, and it's been bought up. So there is a significant amount of buying interest here at about 321 to about 317. So within this little gap, there seems to be quite a bit of buying volume, buying interest, some demand here for Binance coin. Now, if this support level doesn't hold, what you're looking at is another support level here at about 307 or about 300. That's where I'd be looking at for the next support level. Now, let's also briefly talk about Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance has been on an absolute tear. And as a quick reminder, Bitcoin dominance is basically Bitcoin's share of the crypto market. And so right now we're sitting at about 47%. So dominance is 47%. And Bitcoin does kind of go on these tears for this dominance level. However, there's strong resistance here at about 48.5. But whenever Bitcoin goes on these strong tears, it's always like a spike. It always comes up and then it comes back down again as investors and traders take their money out of Bitcoin and go to altcoins or stable coins. So for now, it's looking an awful lot like Bitcoin is being used as a protected asset for these turbulent times for the market. So people are buying more Bitcoin with their altcoins, with their stable coins, and they're holding Bitcoin, which is what we've seen in our other charts, and especially with things like hash rate and the Bitcoin price. You can put these right next to each other. You have the Bitcoin price, massive spike up, Bitcoin dominance, also massive spike up. And so what we're seeing is a move towards safe assets in the crypto space. All right? So that's all I've got for you guys today. If you guys like this content, let me know. Like, subscribe, and go ahead and leave a comment. And let me know what you guys think about the Bitcoin price and if you expect that things are going to go up or if it's going to go sideways, or do you expect that we're going to be having some major action this weekend? Usually weekends are pretty dull and they don't really have a lot of price action. We wind up getting a Sunday pump maybe, but then the volume is really low. So that's probably what I expect is going to happen this weekend as well. That's all I've got for you guys today. This is Cody the Coin Raptor, and I hope to catch you guys in the next video.